Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll show you how I easily remove the alternator of my V6 Jaguar X-type. I'll get it out from under the car without taking apart any extra stuff, just a necessary minimum. So let's begin. First of all, I disconnected the battery. I managed to do some repairs without disconnecting it, you may know it from the previous videos on my channel. But here it's a must. The battery should be disconnected to avoid a short circuit. You see, I unscrewed the negative terminal first and the positive terminal last. I made use of a 10mm ratcheting wrench. After the battery was disconnected, I went on releasing the tension of the auxiliary drive belt. I pushed the tensioner towards the firewall and slipped the belt off. In comments to the video about idler bearing replacement, fellow typers asked me what tool I used to release the tensioner, and here I show you my tool. It's a 10mm L-wrench extended with a high socket and a 10-inch extension from my set of tools. After the belt was released, I got under the car and started unscrewing the AC compressor. I didn't mean to remove it completely, letting the refrigerant drain from the system. I meant just to unscrew it and drew it aside. The lower two bolts securing the compressor can be easily unscrewed and taken out of their place. Everything is quite clear here. After that, I went on unscrewing the upper bolt next to the oil filter. It can be also reached with a 13mm socket and a ratcheting wrench quite easily, though not so easily as the lower ones. I was trying to take videos from different point of view so that to give you better idea of where it sits and how it was removed. After the bolt was unscrewed, I could leave it in its place. It doesn't prevent the AC compressor from moving aside when unscrewed. Nevertheless, I removed it, inserting it into the radiator housing to show that it is also possible to get it out. And here I came to the most tricky part of my repairs, unscrewing the fourth bolt securing the AC compressor, which is located on the auxiliary belt side. First of all, I had to make enough space for the spanner to reach the bolt. I unplugged the AC compressor connector, which is located right under the alternator. I did it from the upper side of the engine bay, pressing on the clip with my thumb and pulling it towards the radiator. I broke the bolt free with a 13mm spanner and unscrewed it with a ratcheting wrench, though I could do it with my fingers as well, and I did so earlier when I had got no ratcheting tools of an appropriate size. As for removing the bolt, there is not enough space to pull it out completely. But it's not a big problem, since it doesn't prevent the AC compressor from moving aside. There was one thing which really stood on the way of the AC compressor, and it was the bank 2 exhaust pipe. Still, I didn't face too many difficulties removing it. I had to unscrew 3 15mm nuts to undo both the clamps securing the above-mentioned pipe. After pulling the clamps along the pipe, I could turn it down and pull it free from the catalyzer to the right end of the engine bay. After the exhaust pipe located under the engine was removed, I got enough space to lower the AC compressor as well. I turned it clockwise when looking from the left end of the engine bay, which allowed me to move the compressor from the alternator's way down, but the compressor pipes remained in their place. You see, I put a kind of wooden stand under the compressor to prevent it from falling down and getting damaged. So I got access to the alternator itself. I unplugged the connector and broke free the nut securing the positive cable. I made use of a 12mm wrench to unscrew it. So I disconnected the alternator from the car electrical system. The only thing remaining to do was to unscrew two bolts securing the alternator and get it out. I unscrewed the upper bolt with a 13mm socket and a ratchet and removed the bolt from where it belonged. There was enough space for it. As for the lower bolt, there was much better access to it. I undid it with a 13mm socket and a ratchet as well and started swinging the alternator in its place until it got loose, and lowered it down with an utmost care, because the back cover of the alternator was made of a very soft alloy and I didn't want to damage a rectifier, regulator or any other electrical component. I took the video from two points of view to clearly show you that there is enough space for the alternator to get down out of the engine bay. I believe no doubts remain that it can be physically done. So I removed the alternator of my V6 Jaguar X-type, swapped pulleys because my new alternator hadn't got a clutch pulley, and installed a new alternator to where it belongs. The video of installing it will be available on my channel. Just follow along and stay tuned.